Okay, well, let's do this. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to my stream. I'm Pierre, your host. I hope you're all doing great this morning. Okay, so like usual, what we're going to do is go over to the computer. We're going to check out what we did yesterday, and then we'll take it from there. So let's do that. What did we do yesterday? Well, we actually started off by putting the only bit of color of this painting, which is the eyeball. We added some details to the ring around our main frame, and then we outlined our main character. Once that was all done, we decided to put the first coat of our frame. So that was basically what we did yesterday, and that is where we are at today, as you can see. So what are we going to do today? Well, first of all, I'm going to start off by putting some highlights, some shadowing on the frame. Like that, it will have time to dry. While that's drying, I am going to go back and fix a few screw-ups that I mentioned yesterday that I couldn't do because of the paint being wet. I would like to fix a little bit down here. I would like to fix also a little bit over here. And I'll have to check it out. So this could be, hopefully if this shading is dry, then I will do two black outlines, an inner and an outer line on this frame. But we can only do that if the paint is dry. So enough talk and let's get to work. And what do I want to do? Yes, I'm going to get some paint ready to do a little bit of shadowing, very discreetly, not to, I don't want the contrast to be too intense. So for that, I have to get a little palette, not very complicated, a little bit of black paint, a little bit of white paint, and we'll blend that in together to get the right hue. So what am I looking for? My little knife. Here we go. And I'm not going to need that much, so I'm just going to put a little bit of black on one side. And, oops, here we go. Little bit of black on one side. And then a little bit of white paint. So I hope everything is going to go okay. We started our stream 10 minutes late because I just could not connect to YouTube for our streaming. And finally, after many tries, it worked. So I was just a little nervous about the bit rate and everything. But so far it seems like to be working. So I'll keep my fingers crossed and hopefully we won't have any complications. So I got the paint together. What do I want to do? I want to get my paintbrush together. So what am I going to use? I am going to go to my little go-to guy for the shadowing, and it's going to be, I think, this guy right here. I'm going to put him to soak. First, I'm going to get rid of this white paint from my spoon, and we'll blend all this in together. I'll just switch cameras. I'll go over to camera number 1, and we can do that together until we get the right color of gray that we want. So this is the color we have. Just want to go a little bit darker on that. So I'm just going to switch over to camera number 1. Very good. I'll bring this down here because I do have some water over here on my bar stool. And let's just work this out. So I'm going to work this a little bit on the edge on the side here because I'm going to be using this and several different colors of this as we go along. So I'm just going to do the darker over here and try not to contaminate the rest because I'm not going to need all that much for the shadowing. Might need a little more after all. Let's Let's not be too stingy here. I mean, it's true at the prices that painting materials are, I do have a tendency of not trying to have any waste. Just too damn expensive to be wasteful. So there's a difference between not wanting to be wasteful and being stingy. So how are we doing here? So let's bring up the camera and we're just going to zoom in a little bit just to see if we can see a little difference. Now you have to keep in mind that this will get darker as it dries. And to be honest, that looks like it's lighter rather than darker, which isn't displeasing, to be honest with you. I was thinking of starting with something much darker. Now I'm hesitating. I'm hesitating about leaving that and going with that kind of a background, shading. But I guess, I don't know. I'm going to go back with my original idea, which was to go with a darker shading first. So I'm just going to add more black to this. I'm going to bring the camera back down again so we can work this out together here. I'll turn this around like that. So I did add already a little bit of black. I'm going to add some water too because this is extremely thick. There's no need for it. So let's try this out. I'll bring the camera back up again. I'll kind of zoom in where we were a few seconds ago so that we can compare. And that is not quite, I know it's going to dry darker, but there I can barely see it. So that's, even though I want it to be discreet, I have a feeling it's just not black enough. Okay, not dark enough. So let's bring the camera back down. Let's continue to work this. I put all the black paint that I had in here. And let's see if that does the trick. If not, I'll just have to add a little more black. I kind of basically used everything I had on my palette here. So boy, this is thick, thick, thick. Let me just add more water to this. If I put it on too thick, it will never dry for us to keep working today, which is what I was hoping to do. I would have kind of liked to have finished this painting by Friday. So let's try this now. Though I can see already what I did just a few seconds ago is already starting to look darker, as you can tell. Come on, there we go. So this is what I did just a few seconds ago. This is what the lighter from before, and what I just did now should be even darker. Yes, it is even darker. So I am going to go back into this very dark. Just like that. And I'm going to pull the camera back because I'm going to work my way all the way around. I'm going to start up in that upper left-hand corner, and we'll just work our way all the way around. Just like that, tap, tap, tap. I'm going to move the camera over to the side so I'm not in front of it. There we go. And I'm just going to work my way around this canvas. There we go. And I guess to continue this, I'm going to put a little bit of music on. Let's do that. Let's just get some. And Jacek, who plays the guitar. And I'll move the camera over as we continue to go around the frame. There we go. Very good. go. Very good. So let's continue. We're almost done. Hello. Comment ça va? Bien. Bah non. D'accord. Bah très bien, c'est super. Il va faire plus chaud là-haut qu'ici. Hein. Ouais. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to just stop the music for a few minutes, and as we get back here, until we decide what the next step is. Oh boy. Okay, so where are we at? So we got the shadowing done. It's going to get a lot darker as it dries, but that's fine. Which makes me wonder now if I shouldn't do a little bit of that lighter gray that we started off with, because that looked kind of nice. So maybe right now I'll just see if I can get that a lighter gray very quickly here, and just add that maybe here and there on that frame. Since I have the paint right here, why not? Let's see what this does. So I'm not going to switch cameras just to do this. I have it just about all made up right here. All I'm going to do is do a little test. And for that, we can do it together. Just get the chair out of the way. I'll switch over to camera number 1. And then we can, I'll just zoom in like I did before on that frame. And we can do a little test here. And see what this looks like. Just going to do a little bit. And it's awfully light. Let's see if I can't darken it up just a whisker. Just get it a tad darker. Even though I know when it dries it'll get darker as is, but still. Let me try this. Let me try this right here. It's a little darker. So I have to just wait a second and figure out what I'm going to paint on top of all this, because this is just the background. And actually, I just changed my mind. I am not going to put this lighter color background because it's going to screw up the plants that I had, or I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to paint on this frame yet. So I'm just going to stop right there until I figure out what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm just going to leave the frame for now, and I'm going to go back and start fixing up all my little screw-ups, just bringing things into so it looks better. And I'm going to start off. What am I going to do here? I'm going to start off by making this little black outline just a little bit thicker right here. So I am going to get my black paint together. Get the black paint together. Find the right size paintbrush. And we'll take it from there. There we go. Okay, so that is done. And what I need is the right paintbrush, and then we'll get the right texture of the paint. So I'm going to go with something not too thick, obviously. Okay, let's try this. And let's get the paint to be nice and just get it to be the right consistency so it flows as though it was ink on the canvas. Again, I'm not going to do this in front of the camera. It's really not that thrilling. It's just adding water to black paint. And since the background is black, you won't even see it that well. So I might as well just do this very quickly, because that is the key thing, is to have the right consistency of the paint. And of course, having the right size paintbrush as well. You need those two things. So that is getting very quickly to the consistency that I like. It's still a little thick. So just add more water, no big deal. Oh, stretchy old backaroo. Now I'm really dressed. I didn't put on 50 pounds from Thanksgiving dinner. It's just that it's kind of chilly in the studio now. So I got like 14 layers of clothes on. It's damp. That is the problem with the studio. There's no heat, and it's extremely damp. These are very old buildings, built in the 17th century. I am living in the old town of Nice, the old part that was built in the Middle Ages, or even before, I guess. So the streets are very narrow on purpose, because in the summertime it helps to keep the buildings and the apartments cool. So this looks like the perfect kind of texture that I like. I'm just very quickly going to rinse off the paintbrush so it feels, and get rid of the excess water. There we go. So let me just step back, take a look at what I want to do. And actually, it looks a little bit too thick here. But I'll worry about that in a second. Let me just get this first part done, and we'll take it from there. So that looks better. Just needs a little bit thicker. Just a little bit wider. Yes, much better, much better. I like it, I like it. Probably can just fix this right here. Just a whisker wider. Very good. Okay. I know I'm being picky, but that's the way it goes. You know, always searching for that elusive sense of perfection. Okay, I got that. I'm going to let that dry a little bit. And I am going to come over to this hand here. I'm going to move the camera way to the side and be sure that I'm not in front of it. Just like that. And of course, I didn't even switch cameras. But anyway, so let me get back to this camera here. Okay, that's pretty good right there. And now I did want to wanted to add, just fix this area here, which bothers me as well. And there's this huge piece of paint right there. Okay, I'll worry about that in a second. Let me just come back to this camera for a second. I'm going to just try to make some very light gray if possible. There we go, my knife. And I might as well just take this gray that we were using earlier for our shading, put that in a different palette. I'm not going to need that much. There we go. Let me just put this away so it doesn't get contaminated. White paint, here we go. I'm going to put the white on the side like that. Okay. So I am going to bring my chair over because I want to be comfortable while I'm doing this. Okay. So finding the same light gray that I had here is not going to be that obvious. Not going to be that obvious at all. So I'm going to just take a few seconds. First of all, I'm going to work and get the right consistency of the white paint. And I'm going to use a different brush so it goes a little quicker. There we go, bigger brush. And I guess we can do this together. I'll do this right down here. Switch over to camera number 1. So this is the white paint, of course, the gray I was using earlier. Right now I'm just going to concentrate on getting this white or very, very light gray to be more fluid, liquidish. I don't know what the term is. Let's bring in just a tad of gray. And I'm going to move everything, the camera, back a little bit because I do have my water right here. So I might as well, there. So I know this is way too light. This is tricky making colors match like that because, as I mentioned earlier, when the paint dries, it tends to darken. So you got to make it just about the right color, but a little bit lighter as well. And that's the part that's not obvious. Right there seems very light, but this could be the thing that works out for me. So I'm not sure. Let's find out. We'll go back up here. And I do want to fix the bottom of this hand. So I will zoom in a little bit on it. Like that, if I screw up, you'll be a witness to that. Okay. First of all, I got to find out if this is the right gray. So why don't I go downstairs? And this is way too light. Way too light. So I'm just going to bring in a little more. And we'll try to darken it up. I really don't need that much. I just want to make one line. So, again, I'm going to try this on the canvas. Honestly, it looks a little light, but I think it will darken and blend in. So, this looks pretty good, I hope. We'll find out. I'll try it, and then we'll see what it does when it dries. So, let me just get back down here. There. Now you get the idea of what I wanted to do. And I'm just going to assume this will all blend in when it dries. Just like that. Now, I am going to get back my black paint. Getting paint chips all over my keyboard. which is very important because this is what helps me switch from cameras. The little shortcuts, from there. Then I go to camera number 1 and back to camera number 2. And I guess we can go back to camera number 1 for this part right here. I'm just going to add a little bit of the black outline to the bottom of my hand. And I can tell by my paintbrushes, I didn't really soak up the excess water. And I'm very lucky that this damn thing isn't dripping all over the place. So I'm going to try this over. Try this again. There we go. There we go. And then I did want to just fix right here as well. Kind of on the top of my thumb. Right there. And right there. I know I'm being very picky, but that's the way it goes. And this I wanted it to be up like this and then up like that as well. There, get that little curve in there. And then while I'm here, I'm just going to fix up a whole bunch of little screw-ups that nobody will ever notice except for myself. And that's because my nose is glued to the canvas. But I think that's okay. Let's pull this back. Take a look from afar. See what that looks like. I'll step back as well. Okay, the hand, all done. The head, well, that's fixed. Now I'm really being picky. But what the heck? Why not? Why not? All this is just going to add more zeros to the check. So it's worth it. Just like that. And then now I am fixing all these little details and mistakes for one very simple reason. Is that yesterday when I did this, I didn't have the right size paintbrush. And I noticed it when I started right away, and out of laziness, I stuck with my paintbrush when I should have switched right away with a thinner paintbrush, and it would have avoided me coming back and wasting my time trying to fix all these screw-ups. So the lesson in all that is not to be too lazy because it doesn't pay in the long run. And that is one of my faults, which I work quite hard on not trying to make a habit of. But still. Okay, so now what? Okay. So I am going to just very quickly take just a little bit of swig of water. And tackle the next part of the painting, which is doing a black outline on the inside and outside of this frame. So I'm going to do that right now because it does just takes a little while, not that long, but still. And if I can get that done before we call it quits for today, that means that tomorrow we can start tackling the details of the frame and maybe just finishing. What day is tomorrow? Tomorrow is Thursday. We do our stream in French tomorrow. And then hopefully Friday we could just finish this painting, which is exactly what I wanted to do, so that we can start a new painting on Monday. That was the game plan. So hopefully we can stick to it. All depends of the amount of details I'm going to do on my frame. Because to be honest with you, I have no idea what I'm going to do right now. But we have 24 hours to figure that one out. So, what did we say? We said the outside and inside frame. And for that, I don't want to brush too wide. I do have to find the right size brush for that. The outside doesn't really matter, especially the inside, because I don't want it too wide. I do have a couple of brushes that are perfect for that. I just need to find them. I guess either one of these two guys. That looks pretty good. Now, just taking a few minutes to get this paint to be, like I mentioned so many times, the right texture. So I'm going to bring over camera number 1, and we will do that together. Just switch over. And actually, we can do that while we're listening to music. There we go. So I'm actually going to cheat and just, there we go. Add water like that. Blend this in. So I don't hear any music. Did I push the wrong keyboard shortcut? Let me check this out again. What is the shortcut? It should be right here. Oddly enough, I don't hear any music. That doesn't mean it's not working. It has happened before. Just add a little more water like this. There we go. So if you excuse me for a second, I am just going to go over to the computer here and see why I couldn't hear any music. I'm going to just check it out from over here. assuming the music is working, I just can't hear it. Well, no big deal. So this is perfect. Okay. See, when the paint is the right consistency, it just glides on beautifully. So I'm going to go back to that top row again, try to finish that. bien, très bien. Don't break my back either. There we go. All right, very good. There we go. This is the perfect example of why I want the paint to be the right texture. As you can see, it just glides on. And I can do like 20 inches without having to stop. There we go. Look at that. Perfect. Beautiful. Marvelous. Wonderful.